Good morning, friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our favorite day of the week here at Medwell Health and Wellness. My name is April, and welcome to Medwell Unscripted Live. Every week, my partner in crime, Emily Waxman, who's our Director of Community Outreach, we get the opportunity to meet greatness across the country and people in our community and share about the power of medical cannabis. Good morning, Emily. How are you?
Good morning.
All right. We have an awesome program today. We have our friend Sears, who is coming to us from Indianapolis. So good morning, Sears. How are you?
Good morning. Good.
Good. So Sears is a professional joke slinger, keynote speaker, and motivational speaker. And I cannot wait to hear what she has to say this morning and all of the great things and laughter she's going to bring to today's show. But before we get started, friends, I do want to just do some housekeeping. If you are so we're streaming this to LinkedIn, to YouTube, to Facebook. Please feel free to chime in a question. If you are catching the replay, absolutely leave a comment or a question and we'll be sure to get back to you. We're going to run about 30 minutes. And again, let us know you're there. Say hello. We can't wait to get this conversation started. So today, and as many of you know, we've been talking this month in particular about breast cancer awareness. And today we're going to share a story about laughter, courage, and medical cannabis. And that Sears, again, is coming to us. She's a professional joke slinger, keynote speaker, motivational speaker, and she's going to share with us her medical cannabis journey, an intricate part of her wellness and how she motivates others. She actually just was sharing in our green room about a huge gathering she just came from, and I can't wait to hear a little bit about that. So let's get started with introductions. I first want to start, Emily, tell us what you're up to in the community. You're always you are a breath of fresh air and the Energizer Bunny. So what are you up to?
Well, thank you for that. It is always an absolute pleasure to be out in the community. You can find me at your local dispensary most of the time. I'll be setting up a table there and speaking to all of those medical patients and even those non-medical patients that maybe have some questions about the program and why one would want to enter the program here in Massachusetts. So if you see me out and about, make sure that you stop by and say hello. It is always an absolute pleasure to be able to talk to you and hear how cannabis has been able to help. And maybe, even if not for you, maybe for even a loved one or just someone that you know that might be suffering. So please make sure that you stop and say hello. And then I will now turn this back over to you, April, because I am so excited for our guest today. I have been looking forward to having Sears on all month long. So it is just phenomenal to be able to be here today. So we'll get this going quickly.
All right, Sears, you are one of our kick-ass guests. So share a little bit about what you are, your story, kind of a little bit about you that we can share with the community. Because I know, Emily, when she connected with you, was very humbled and very excited to have you on as a guest. So I'm just as excited as I learned about you and kind of, so let's take it away.
Well, there's all kinds of stories. So let's just start with
we can kind of keep it PG R-rated, a little R-rated. How about that?
well, just there's so many stories. So like in 2000, I was doing Muay Thai and I was 25 years old and I was in great shape and I went paralyzed on the left side of my body and I was like, something's not right here. And so I went to the doctor and he's like, well, you either have a really bad pinched nerve or you have MS. And I was like, I don't want to be a Jerry's kid. And my girlfriend goes, that's MD, you dumbass. And come to find out it was MS. And I didn't really have too many issues with that for many years. And then I took myself off my medicines. I'm like, I don't need this. And it was shots every week and they were horrible. And they made you just sick. And he said, well, we have a drug study. It's a pill form. Would you be interested in being it? You get an MRI every month, and I get to see these guys. I get to the neurologist, oncologist, or the dermatologist, pulmonologist, all this for free every month. And I was like, yeah, and they pay me and it may help somebody else. Sure. Well, I don't pay attention to side effects because they tell you what to have or what to feel. And, there are people in placebos that get the side effects because you told them what to have. And so I don't pay attention to that stuff. But one of the side effects was skin cancer of the drug. And I ended up getting breast cancer from it. In March of 2014. I was driving in the car with my girlfriend at the time, and I said something smart aleck, and she backhanded me, and I grabbed my boob, and I said, real funny, when I get breast cancer. I'd said it 100 times because I'm 48. So back when my age, you get hit in the tit, you can get breast cancer. Or, when I boxed, I had to wear cups in my sports bra.
Sure.
And I had said that a lot. It was just something you said. And I grabbed it, and there was a bump that stuck up just like my knuckle. And I was like, that's not normal. So she's always got to say, remember that time I saved your life? But yeah, so I got diagnosed with stage 2 IDC, which is interductal carcinoma. And I was first 10 minutes of getting diagnosed, I said, okay, I've got 2 questions. And they're like, all right. I said, has it spread? Am I going to die? And they said, we don't think it's spread. You're definitely not going to die. I said, okay, I need a piece of paper and a pen. And I wrote down all my 5K runs, my trip to Vegas, Gay Pride Month, and my trip to Mexico, and the mini marathon. And I said, okay, here's my schedule, work around it. And sorry, my dog. And they looked at me like, because monkey, stop. Sorry, I'm at home with my dogs.
Oh, you're good. You're among Emily has 2. I have 3. You're among
okay.
You're good.
Goodness. So now I got this all messed up. So I was like, that's my schedule. And they're just kind of like, you just found out. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? You've got 2 choices. You do or you don't. You melt or you fight. And I look at things as, okay, we've got to get this done. It was a business thing. Okay, what are we doing? Here, we got to do it. And I went on Facebook after I told my closest people, and I went on Facebook and I had a booby pillow and I had it here. And I said, well, the next 9 months are going to be a little bumpy road, but you know what? It's 9 months, big deal. Women carry babies 9 months. Of course I can do this treatment for 9 months. I can't imagine carrying somebody in. No. For 9 months, I figured, well, treatment would probably be easier than that. And for me, and it's very sounds, I always feel disrespectful when I say cancer is easy for me, because I've dealt with MS.
Sure.
So had I not, would it have been easy? Probably not. But I also look at things in a different way, because perspective is everything. Without my booby crown on, if you look at me this way, my mullet's glorious. It's pretty. But if you look at me from the side and I shake it, it's glorious. It's all perspective.
Sure.
And so I was admitted 3 times to the hospital. Guess what? I made good friends there. Those nurses fought over me. I'm still friends with them today. They've come to shows. So I looked at it differently. I just like meeting people. And it's just opportunity for me to meet more people, kind of thing. And we had fun. Because you either embrace the suck or the suck will embrace you.
Right.
I really love that. I love how you wrote that list. Like this is not going to stop me. I'm like, I'm kicking the
I was
shit
busy.
through the door.
Busy, work around my schedule.
I love it. Because
Great.
we don't have time for this. We got to get stuff done. So that's awesome.
But like when people start losing their hair and they try to hold and grasp onto that little stuff, just it looks awful. And I'm like, shave that, take control of the cancer, or the cancer is going to take control of you.
Yeah.
Because they just try to grasp. And the biggest thing that I see online, a lot of these women are just trying to so hard hold on to who they are as a person now, or who they were. And they're never going to be that person. They do the cold capping because, oh my God, they're going to lose their hair. Guess what? Hair is usually temporary.
Yep.
Mine's longer than it's been since the 90s when I had my last mullet. Or my first one, It grows back. It grew back longer and pinker. Somebody goes, you do that yourself? And I know, no, cancer did it. It grew back this color.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
People are gullible.
Yes, they are. They are. Well, I do. And I'm sure that could pass in some level for some, because, some people grow back curly, right? I actually have a friend that has significant curls, and her hair was so straight before. It's like crazy curliness. They're beautiful.
And I spiked my hair, and I'm like, have you ever tried to spike a pubic hair? I can't do this curly hair. I kept shaving it until it came back in straight. curly hair? No. But right. I mean, but I was like, I shaved it a couple of times afterwards, plus
Sure.
I had a friend that got diagnosed. So I shaved it to stay bald with her and
Oh,
so, but,
that's great.
yeah, no, the curly hair, it's funny because people with curly hair comes back straight and they're like, but
It's kind of one of those things you get to see what the grass is greener on the other side. And some
well, and that's the thing too, and it's like at the cancer center, I would walk around, I just would walk around a bit. Like I had an appointment 2 days ago and I was there for 5 hours. My appointment was a half an hour. So I had to visit everybody in every department, because they're all friends.
well, and you're a bright light in a, which can be a dark place for a lot.
Right,
So that's awesome.
right.
I hear Sears across the cancer center. And I'm like, I'll be over there in a minute, because I get to visit with all of them because I made friends, because it's, you're either you see these people and they just go through the motions and it's like, you're not keeping yourself healthy that way either. Mentally, it's mentally is just as tough as what the cancer is fighting you.
Right.
It really is. I mean, and the mental toughness is a big thing. I mean, I'm a salesperson by trade. That's what I've done all my life. So that mentality is a salesman's mentality, and everything I've been trained, in motivational stuff is, that's the only thing I listen to audiobooks wise. I was like listening to Own the Day when I was sleeping. It's just who I am as a person.
Sure.
It's so amazing to hear, Sears, just what you're saying though, and that just must be just so inspiring for so many because I am picturing myself to be in those shoes, and the thought of losing my hair and something that you just identify so much with, and for you to say to take it on and empower yourself and just shave it off and don't let it define you, and don't let it be the end all be all. And I think that once I would imagine once you give that advice to a woman, it probably really, it's still painful, but it certainly, I would think, would help, get at least past that to some degree, and feel like you can handle it.
My first breastie that I met, somebody contacted me. A friend of mine said, "Hey, can you talk to a friend of mine? Her and her wife are really struggling. They've never fought, and she's going through this right now, and they're struggling. And you and your girlfriend seem to be doing great." Well, looks can be deceiving, but I got a hold of her, and she was really struggling with it. And I said, "Shave it off. Shave it off." And she did. And the next day, and she's a bigger girl, and she went to the mall the next day. We lost somebody. And
she'll be back.
She went to the mall the next day to get her eyebrows done, threaded, I guess, or something. I don't know. I don't do all that. But, and she was very worried about what people would say. And she was greeted with people being nice and asking her. And this little girl looked up at her and to talk to her, and she called me afterwards. She goes, "Thank you." That was actually the most empowering thing. And it made me feel beautiful because these people all said how beautiful I was. Bald is beautiful. Hair, guess what? Hair distracts from your face. When you're bald, you get to see the beauty of your actual face, the whole thing. Not just, because hair does. It takes away.
Yeah.
Or adds to. And it's just like makeup. I'm not a big makeup person, never have been. I don't like fake anything. Just I don't like fake people at all. It's not that makeup's fake, and it makes people feel good, and that's fine. But I just, I look paying it on and all that. It's just, no, I don't want to wake up next to somebody I don't know who you are.
Right. Sears, would you mind sharing a little bit about, so you just had an event, kind of share a little bit about your community, because I think, I can tell just from your aura and like spirit, even though I'm in Connecticut and you're in Indianapolis, like you have an amazing motivational ability to take people out of that. And I love that story about shaving off your hair, because I feel like that's totally taking the reins and being like, I got this. I love that. You have to take control of the shit. And it doesn't matter what shit it is. We all have shit in our life. My shit is no worse than yours. Even if yours is a divorce or a breakup or what, so what? If it's your worst thing, it's your worst thing. You've just got to not let it take control of you, no matter what it is. And just got to forge through. And not everybody can, and not everybody has the support to do that too,
True.
So it's not always as easy as, I'm like, it's easy. Well, not for everybody. But so I am a flatty, which means I'm flat after breast cancer. I chose to go flat. I didn't know that was the term. I just said cut them off because I refused radiation because I was like, nope, not doing radiation, not doing it.
Yeah.
And so she goes, well, we can't do a lumpectomy. And I said, well, cut them off. I said, and okay. And then I found out there's the term called flat, and we're flatties. We call ourselves flatties. And so it is a growing thing. People don't realize we're out there. They're so alone. They think they're the only one that feels amputated of we're amputated of a body part that all of our life has said that's what makes you a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, and I get this a lot, do you think it was easier for you because the way you present? I mean, I look a little bit more femme right now, but I'm kind of more androgynous butch, on that spectrum or whatever you want to say. I'm just me. I'm just Sears. It doesn't matter. I just dress how I dress.
Sure.
Wore leggings for the first time ever yesterday. Amazing. But anyways.
they're actually a great thing. Especially when you want to like suck it up and let it all hang out.
As long as I don't have to look in a mirror, they're comfy.
Exactly.
But so there is this growing thing because implants cause a lot of issues and people don't talk about it and they don't want to talk about it. And in these breast cancer groups, they only talk about reconstruction. They don't talk about flat. And these people are so alone in not knowing that. But implants can cause breast implant illness. Dana Kirkpatrick just had hers removed. Michelle from RuPaul's Drag Race, the co-host, even has a show called Explant because she had to remove hers. They cause multiple sclerosis. They can cause lupus. They can cause death. I mean, there's mold growing in a lot of them. Every single set of implants have black label warnings from the FDA. And they have found now that there's like 3 or 4 different cancers that they can cause.
Mm. Wow. Right.
That just
how would you ever know that?
Because doctors don't tell you and they push. And there are women in my group there are flatties in my group that said they wanted to go flat and the doctor leaves the extra skin because you may change your mind or you're too young, and they push because of what their idea of a woman should be, not just the money, but what their idea of a woman should be.
It's terrible.
It's sad. And these people, I see them going through surgery after surgery. Anyway, so we decided I'm not one to go change the laws. I'm not that person. I'm not a reader. I can math. I'm not a reader. Stop. But I like to have parties and I like people. So I and a friend of mine, I said, hey, why don't we put on the largest flatties meetup on the largest flat top mountain in the world? Because I was in Colorado and I went up there and I was like, oh, this would be perfect. So we started a group called Flat Out Love, and we're just a flatties meetup group. And, there are groups for flatties or to help people decide to go which way they want to go, all that stuff. That's not us. We're just here to let you know you're not alone. And we're here, and we had over 100 flatties there. And we had a picture of 83 of us at one point because some people had left. One got altitude sickness, stuff like that. And some people were coming in late. We had about 83 of us in the initial picture, and about 79 of us ended up without a shirt on. And for the first time, there was 90% of them had never taken their shirt off in public before.
Wow, I love that.
That's great.
And there's a friend of mine. She went for the flat polar plunge with me on the lake in Colorado. She last weekend up in Michigan was at the walk with just a ball gown on and a crown, not a booby crown, but a regular crown as a princess, and was like, we need to change the narrative, because this is beautiful. And she had never really gone out in public and taken her shirt off because of Colorado. She's like, now I'm hooked. And she did that walk without a shirt. And she's gorgeous. And that's the thing. I know what I look like. So a lot of women are like, well, yeah, of course it was easier for you. I mean, look at you. And it's true. And I get that. And it's, yeah, I'm sure it was easier for me because of that. I mean, they weren't something that I didn't wear, low cut shirts and, they weren't that big anyways. This is way bigger than I ever had. But, it's like, I can't understand from somebody that presents like you two, let's say, compared to me. I get it. It's different, but because we sexualize them, every one of it. I was bad about it, myself included. I had a booby pillow I got for Christmas the year before. I had a booby phone case that it was perfect because it would prop. Anyways, yeah. But I got it the year before for my birthday because I like boobs. I mean, I'm just as bad as any man, any woman about sexualizing them. Gay, straight, male, female, we all have.
Well, and I think that plays into today's marketplace, right? Like if you look at and this is kind of off the cuff, but like I was watching a movie, an old school movie from, I'm 49, you were in the same age bracket, and my son was like, "This is so ridiculous." He's like, "This is so boring. This is so whatever." I was like, "Right, but this is like rated R. Like this is as risque as it got. But now everything is just totally sexualized. So you're even more so." So,
yeah, and you know, and it's sad because we do that. Society does. We all do. Right. Guarantee you, both of you have done it. Yeah. I mean, I know people that is comedians. They use their boobs to get gigs. I mean, we've all done it, you know, and it's society. We need to change the narrative, like she said, you know, and we need to normalize flat because this is beautiful. I'll tell you this, if I ever do choose to date again, which I probably won't, I'm too busy, but it'll probably be somebody without boobs. It's now it's way more attractive to me because I don't know, that scar is sexy because I think it means more too, because it means what, you know, strength.
Exactly.
It means
strength. I mean, the term that comes into my mind immediately is just like warrior, you know, like someone that has really gone to battle and won, you know. I mean, I just think I can see where you would say that, you know.
Yeah, sure. And it's weird, you know, and I mean, I don't see myself ever dating again. I really, it's crazy. After breast cancer, I just don't have a desire, for one, that happens. And for two, it's just like, yeah, they have medicine to fix it, but why? If you take a pie chart and you take that part of, you know, that didn't look good in the video. But if you took that little part of the pie away and it's like cannabis. When you take the THC away, you have more CBD, you know, or if you put more THC in it, you have less CBD. Right. So it's the same type of thing. I have more room for other stuff in my mind because that's not something I'm constantly thinking of.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, so it's just like, no, don't fix it. I am happier than I've ever been in my life.
That's amazing.
You know?
Amazing. So Sears, that kind of, you just led the door into talking a little bit about kind of your medical cannabis journey so you have MS and then you have, you know, then you intermix cancer and now you have kind of a big pot of soup in sense. So like talk a little bit about your journey with that, if you don't mind.
So I use marijuana. Like, I don't drink alcohol except for occasionally. I mean, I had one a couple weeks ago, a drink. I don't think I finished it. And that's probably the last drink I've had in 6 months, maybe. Mm-hmm. I just don't. I'm a control freak. You know, I was in sales. I drove for a living. I couldn't, you know, get a DUI or anything like that. Yeah. So weed was the same thing when I was a kid. But I was going through breast cancer and 3 different medicines. I couldn't get any sleep and I was going nuts. It was like day 2 and not even 5 minutes of sleep. So I called my buddy and I said, I need some weed. And he's like, how much? I said, a joint. You have to roll it. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I'm a little white suburbia, you know.
To be honest, I'm not sure that I still could ever roll a joint.
I don't need to. I mean, we got all these accoutrements, you know. I mean, I've got never mind. We won't even get into all that. But I like all the gadgets. I got a Rubik's Cube grinder even. Anyways. But I got that and I told my nurse practitioner the next day and I said, I got some sleep. And she's like, yeah. And I said, yeah, I smoked. I took 2 hits of a joint. And she's like, don't smoke that shit. Eat it if you have to. And that's been in my head because that, you know what I mean? That's just stuck in my head. So I smoked a little bit more now, but I usually eat it for the most part. Plus, I know how to regulate it with eating it every 3 hours, you know, and I take it 2.5 and then I stay high basically all the time because now, back then I was just using it to sleep, but my MS got so bad I couldn't walk. My last mini marathon I did with a walker. And then I was up in Canada and with MS, bladder control is a big issue. And we were up there, and I was on my cane, and we, there was a dispensary. We stopped because my buddy and his wife were potheads that I was with. And I don't think that is a bad term, by the way. I call myself pothead all the time because
No, I
people
don't.
need to know it's not what everybody thinks it
The
is.
stigma's not as much as it used to be, right?
It's not. And, there's so many white cisgender big business owners that you wouldn't know because they're secretive about it.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the misconception with blacks and whites. It's blacks talk about it more. Whites are very hush hush. They do it just as much.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was like up there, and I had an accident, and my buddy goes, "You want something to drink?" When I was getting a shower, and I said, "Yeah." I didn't care if it was Jim, Jack, or Mary. And he put liquid marijuana in my drink. Tincture. I asked him about 20 times, "What is that again?" Tincture. What was that? But I walked around the block without my cane with them. And I was like, what? I'm from Indianapolis. Well, Eli Lilly is a big company here, who used to be the biggest marijuana distributor in the state because they had their own farms back in the day here in Indiana.
Wow.
They don't realize that. The medical professionals were all about weed until the government wasn't because of money and race. So, coming from White Beach Grove, I didn't know any of this. Like I said, I didn't meet a black person for a long time. And it was just like sheltered, dare, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. This is your brain on drugs. And I was like, well, I don't want my eggs scrambled. I didn't know because you don't know what you don't know. Period.
Right. Yeah. We all came from that generation of that. Yeah, for sure.
So when I just kept researching it because I was just like, this doesn't make sense. This thing that's been so bad all my life is helping me walk. There were days where I couldn't hardly get dressed because I couldn't stand up, and I would eat a little bit of a gummy bear and I could get up and walk.
Wow.
That's just, it's helped my bladder control. And now I'm in CrossFit. I mean, where I couldn't walk.
Amazing.
Because of cannabis. I even ended up having my own line, a CBD line at one point because CBD wasn't. Oops, there it goes. There's my head. They had two of them.
What was the name of it?
Well, the company's no longer in business. It was through Denver CBD, and I got to formulate it myself, and I put vitamin D in it because I wanted to help my people, my MS people, my cancer people. Lion's mane tasted like shit. It was gross. We tried lion's mane because that's really good for MS and stuff, but we ended up with vitamin D because that helps with cancer and MS. And then we did 5% of the pink or the strawberry went to breast cancer, and then 5% of the orange went to MS. They're no longer in business. I do work part-time at a CBD store here because I love being in the industry. Yeah. I'm supposed to be in a cannabis show called Hemp Valley, Colorado. And because of my story, and I am a pothead now. I mean, there's, legal and illegal. I have all the Delta 8s and everything because we can sell that here. And it's like they help, but I'm already past the point. I found a doctor in Colorado or in California though that made me my own FECO out of ACDC, which was high in CBD, and it was a very strong point. And they called me every week to check on me and up my dose. It got me to the point of getting off my cane, though, from that regiment that they did with CBD. And I got to the point, he's like, how are you feeling? I said, great. I got off my cane last night. And he's like, that's awesome. I said, but I can't get high. And he goes, now, what do you want? Do you want to get high or do you want to walk? And I was like, both now. Because at first, I didn't want to get high. I just wanted to walk again. I don't want to be head high. I don't want to be messed up. Right. That was my thing. Mm-hmm. And now that I understand it, I'm like, I want to be high. I'm a better person. I'm nicer. I'm more compassionate, because it does. And, it really changes your whole persona, in my opinion. Because when you feel better, you feel better.
Totally.
So
true. So true.
Yeah. So that's my journey.
Sears, tell us a little bit. So clearly you have this gift to inspire others with your story. If somebody was talking about getting started with medical cannabis, what kind of what tips would you offer to them about kind of finding the right dosage, the right product? You know, you had some friends that helped you. Like, what would you say to somebody that was either recently diagnosed with cancer or MS?
The thing of it is, people don't understand that, you know, they see people on TV, you know, it's these just Dab and Debbie and did you watch Disjointed? I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna hang up if not. Kathy Bates is a flatty.
I didn't realize that, actually.
That's how she got into cannabis, is because of her breast cancer. There you go, full circle.
Wow.
Yeah, and Tone Bell Carter, ID and registration, he is actually on the lymphedema board with her, and he's a comedian that I bet and stuff. Yeah, so it's crazy how this all kind of, you know, it does, but learn the different strains and stuff do different things. You know, and everybody's like, well, it makes me paranoid. I'm like, well, you did too much, or you did something a different kind. You know, I've gotten paranoid. I'm like, Sears, go to bed. That is not a cop following you. Just go to bed. Just go home and go to bed. You know, you do. If you get too high, you get paranoid sometimes.
Yeah, it's true.
You might be driving 20 miles an hour too.
Right.
I have waited on the stop sign to turn green.
Just saying.
But you know what? No high driver has killed somebody. No high driver has hit somebody head on and paralyzed them. They go home and go to bed. They may fall asleep at the light, but guess what? That's better than running and hitting somebody.
Right.
You know, we give all of this, I don't know what the word is, to alcohol. Alcohol is great. Alcohol is great. Let's all shoot beers and do this and do this. And, you know, they every ballpark and everything, it's beer, alcohol, this and that. Everything revolves around alcohol. Yeah. What has alcohol done that's good?
Right.
You forget your problems for a minute. They're still there in the morning. And guess what you need when you have a hangover? CBD to get it.
Right. True.
But, you know, and it's society. It's the same thing with everything in society. You know, I used to be a black and white person because that's how I was raised. Black, white, boy, girl, that's it. Yeah. Everything's on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Everything is fluid. Gender, religion, race, everything. I mean, politics is fluid. I think, I really do. I believe that if people open their mind, otherwise they're just stuck in this is this way and that's it. And I used to be that person. Not anymore. I mean, if you have a MAGA hat on, guess what? I'm trying harder to be your friend. Mm-hmm. Because hate is hate if love is love.
Right.
If we go the opposite way of people that don't like us, then what's the difference? Mm-hmm. You know.
So I heard you have a documentary coming up. Do you want to share a little bit about that with our community? Can you?
I don't know if. So they started one because they wanted it on my story because I was supposed to go get stem cell transplant. And that was where the documentary was going. And then I found cannabis. So I'm like, nope, I'm not getting that now. Because now I'm in CrossFit and I couldn't walk.
Gotcha.
Why would I go get stem cell that can possibly cause the cancer cells to divide even more within your body when I don't need it now? I'm living my best freaking life, you know? I mean, because of cannabis. You know, I mean, I hurt my tailbone at that trip. My boss at the CBD store says, here's your door price. Take the CBG and just use it. She gave me max strength CBD, and I've been doing that and the topical. And man, I don't take Vicodin hardly anymore. You know, I used to get prescribed 50 of them a month for my MS. Wow. I've gotten it down to 20 just in case I really need them. I don't want to be with like the tailbone or whatever. I don't want to be without it. I have to have them. But you know, it's insane to me how much people don't know about cannabis because they don't know what they don't know. And at the CBD store, we see that where people are like, oh, I don't want to, you know, try this pain rub. You don't have to ingest it. You know, I think that's what, was it Clinton that said he didn't inhale? He probably ate an edible.
Right.
He probably didn't inhale. I don't have the time, you know, I mean, but people just are stuck in that mind frame of this or that, and that's it. So that's why at the CBD store, my boss is always like, Sears, because she doesn't like to make it like a head shop or anything. She doesn't want to do the goofy weed characters and stuff like that, products like that. She wants to be very professional. And I say, I'm pothead, all the time. And she's just like, serious. And I'm like, we got to change the stigma,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what a pothead looks. This is what a pothead or a brawlhead, I don't know, looks like. I mean, I'm out there. I mean, I have my backpacks, have cannabis leaves on them. I
Love
don't
it.
care. My masks I would wear pot leaves. Everybody knows it, but people contact me about cannabis all the time. And I know a guy that is using RSO, and he's 6 months past his
What?
I'm sorry. Phone
There you
calls.
go. You're good.
We got you.
But he's only like 50 pounds now, but he's 6 months past his expiration date just because of the RSO.
Wow.
I mean, that's the only reason there's no other reason that he's still here.
Wow.
And it's sad that they're not allowing us to have this for people in a lot of places. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's why, that we have so many platforms now that allow us to tell stories like your journey and, all, whether it be on YouTube, all of these places to tell the story and the power of how medicinal cannabis can really help in people's overall wellness, especially from these narcotics. And I know I recently had a hip replacement, and it's very controlled with the narcotics now, like much more so. But it's crazy. It's crazy, because the amount of pills that I had to take in a day for a month was like insane. I mean, I literally went from like my cholesterol pill and my anti-anxiety medication to like 20 pills a day for 60 days. It was insane. So
my buddy was head of Homeland Security in Indiana, and he had Parkinson's. And him and I went to high school together and stuff. And this was before CBD was around. He was taking 27 pills a day. His insides bled to death, and he died because of those pills, not because of the Parkinson's, because of the pills. Had CBD been around, he would still be here. CBD around then. Matter of fact, the first CBD I got was from an illegal dispensary in Michigan when I went up there, and it wasn't even anything like what it is now, and it was like I had to get into the dispensary up there, and it's horrible because people don't know what they don't know. And so like our governor will never, and it's like, I don't want you to have something that you're going to have to find out what it does. Right. But unfortunately, sometimes it takes that, because I'm a hypocrite. My best friend teases me all the time that I'm such a hypocrite because she's always smoked weed. And I told you so. And I'm a bunch of friends that always smoked it. I told you so. And I'm like, but my story wouldn't help people if I tried it back when you told me.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't meant for me to do it then.
Exactly.
My straight-laced people that own businesses that have seen me be able to get off my cane and walk again because of it are now like, oh, okay, it's not bad.
Right.
And had I, so I'm very grateful to it because it saved my life, basically, because I almost took my life even because I couldn't walk. I was a boxer and a runner, and it was hard. And a stand-up comedian, and you can't stand up. So I've never called myself a stand-up comedian because of it.
I do like the Joke Slinger term for sure.
Well, I do stand up. I'm not a good stand-up comedian. I don't know how to write a joke. I'm just a funny person. So when I say stuff, I write it down. Or all my jokes are real life.
Got it.
I don't know if I should admit that or not, but no, they are. Everything, yeah, all that stuff I've done or said.
Well, you know what I think? I think one of the things is real life makes you human, right? And I think it's way more relatable, and especially in today's society where we have, I think COVID has really changed how I feel like how we see people and have connected with people differently in some way.
Like this.
Yeah, like this. Exactly. So it's not just those phone conversations, don't get me wrong. Video games drive me crazy with my teenage son, but at some level, like it's that connection, it's that human connection. And so so awesome.
Yeah. COVID did do a lot of things like this. Our podcast, The Gays of Our Lives, which we need a producer, so we're not going right now, but we always had to have people come in the studio. And then Rona happened, and we went to Zoom, and we even had Saff from Tiger King on.
Right. You can have it yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Human touch and like that connection of seeing people has been wonderful to be back
Yes.
and like hug people and see people. But this allows you to connect and see
Well,
the whites of people's
it's the
eyes.
same thing. The Rona, when I asked people in my breast cancer group at one time, I did a motivational online thing during the Rona, and I said, write down 2 words about 2020, and it was all negative, negative, negative. So write down 2 words about your breast cancer, negative, 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 negative. Everything. And I'm like, okay, let's stand over here and look at it from a different angle. Now, give me 2 words about 2020 that was positive. Did you learn something new? Did you learn something about you? Did you learn how to do something? Did you get connected with other people? And there was so much positive. And then I said, okay, same thing about your breast cancer. Give me 2 positive things. But you have to tell them positive or they go straight to the negative.
Sure. Absolutely.
What is the light called in the middle of the intersection?
The light called in the middle of
the intersection at the street intersection.
A stoplight or the walk sign?
See, stop. Why is it not a go light?
Oh, there you go. Oh, I see. Ah, you got me.
You see what I'm saying? Everything's always the negative, always. It's the way society is.
Right. I love that. Yeah.
And it is, it really is. And one of my big things is, and this is one I've got to always say on that interview, is everybody always says YOLO. You only live once, right? Take the chance. No, wrong. You only die once. You live every day. Take all the chances.
I love that.
That perspective changed my life. And that's why I do so much. I'm like, there's too much to see and do. I'm going to do it all. Well, not big, but everything else I'm going to do.
Awesome. With that, Sears, I'm going to, I wanted to let everyone know that I have put Lissa's website right in the chat here. So please do check her out and will they be able to find your community through that website, or is there a different way for them to
on Facebook, we have a group called Flat Out Love. I'm working with some people for a website and an app currently because we need it, because these people feel so alone. And I put a map up on this app and we connected them in Africa and Australia and everywhere that didn't know other flatties existed near them. This event that we put on, the biggest thing is these people were all alone, and now they had so much anxiety getting on that plane because they hadn't done anything, or we had people back out because their anxiety from just trying to get to the event. Sure. And it was so hard for them to get on the plane, but you know what? Most of them said it was harder for them to get on the plane going home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing. I love that. That is great.
Yeah, it's so cool to see.
Awesome.
That is amazing. So wonderful to know that there is a community there that they have.
You're not alone. Yeah. So Flat Out Love, you have to be. We have a totally safe space because we do Topless Tuesdays. Because I started that when I was going through, because somebody reported me for nudity when I posted my first topless picture. I was like, don't tell me what not to do. So I started Topless Tuesday, so they got it every week. And so I did that in my group. And then some people are maimed, or just, it's horrible what the doctors have done to them because they don't think they should be flat. That's not normal. And they just, they're deformed basically. I mean, they just, they mutilate them. And so not everyone wants to show it. So we do a what you wear on Wednesday, so those people can be included too. Or because some people are like, how do I dress now? Because women's clothing have those darts and they're cut different. I didn't change a bit of clothing except for I threw my bras out, because I always dressed more tomboy. Yeah, so androgynous, whatever. I've always worn men's clothes. That's why I said these are the first pair of leggings I've ever worn in my life. I love it. They're so comfy though.
All right, Sears, my friend, thank you so much for your time today and all of your sharing your story. It's really been, and thank you so much for the laughs, and keep doing the amazing things that you are doing, and be well and feel well. Emily, thank you so much. My partner in crime here. Friends, we are back next Thursday at 10 with another awesome topic. And I actually don't know it off the top of my head, but I will post it in the chat after.
I think we have our friend Arthur coming back, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
yes. We're going to be talking about Tetragram, the app for journaling, and they've done some amazing updates. So definitely join us next Thursday as well. Again, if you are catching the replay, my friends, do leave a comment or a question. We'll be sure to get back to you, and definitely stop by Sears' website. And also, I'm going to find the link to
Flat
the
Out Love on
Facebook community.
Facebook.
Yep. Flat Out Love on
You have to be
Facebook.
flat though, and no spouses, no nothing.
You have to be flat. So yes, I will make sure I
Or
put that in the
yeah.
comments. So thanks again so much. And I look forward to seeing
you,
everybody
guys.
next week. Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sears.